Yeah? Well, the Ruskies aren't ready for what's coming. Nobody was. We often shook and
Get down here, now!
We're trying to do the Easter egg. person's not playing, standing there. Come get you. I'll keep these two zombies. That.
Do you want to do the Easter egg?
Yes, I want to do the Easter egg.
I know how to do all of those. That's what it's.
You've already done it? That well. Do you want to keep a zombie after this round?
Where's the smoke block? Yeah, I'm okay. doing this Easter egg?
Yeah, I want to do the Easter egg.
Yeah, that's what he did.
I've got the last zombie.
Did you
Oh yeah, Robin. Oh shit.
Do you want me to keep a zombie?
There should be nothing around.
Ah!
too high in the rounds to finish this Easter egg.
Migration.
Hello, do you two want to do the Easter egg? I want to do the Easter egg. Anyone got a mic? Zombie, have you done the Easter egg yet? You open this door. Open that door. Open the door.
with your radio to go ahead and do it. So on my map, it is Telltale Fleming. So I'm going to look at the Telltale Fleming section, and then I'm going to... Welcome to your easy-to-understand tutorial on how to complete the main Easter egg quest within the Shadowed Throne. In World War II Zombies DLC 2. If you don't already own this map, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for a few codes for this DLC on PlayStation. So if you want to be entered, simply leave a comment down below with your PSN ID. Make sure you put the like rating on the video as well as subscribe to the channel. Feel free to use the comment section as a way to get teammates in case you want to get some co-op buddies to help you complete this Easter egg. Now, this can be completed on solo and any number of co-op players, but I highly recommend you do this in a game of 3 or more players, as this is quite difficult, and extra players does help shift the workload of these steps very easily. Our first step is going to be simply activating the radio on the main screen. So what you need to do is go up to it and hold square or X so that you're physically using it. You see it will say use the radio. Now you'll also notice that above the radio box there's going to be a model number on top of it. You want to note this down and you want to go until you get to the church, and within the church you're going to see a map and you want to locate the district that is marked by a red pin on the map. The model number on the radio changes every game, so it might not be the same as what you're seeing in my game, but in this particular game it was ZX0. My game, the red marker on the map was pinned under an area called Dam Spreewald, so I go and look on the sheet of paper to the left to see Dam Spreewald and look at the series number and scroll down Dammy Spreewald till I find the model number of our radio, which was ZX. So you can see the band says 87, so I know that my first starting frequency on the left side of the radio is going to be 87. If you recall, our model number is ZX0, so I see ZX is 87, and then on the second box to the right I see there is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Ours is 0, so I look at 0, and the corresponding number next to it is 86.2. So round that up, we have 87 on the left and 86 on the right. So I go back to the radio and I tune the radio on both the left and right frequencies to match those numbers that were left and right. If you've gotten the two frequencies right, you'll see the light under the radio go green, and you should start to hear a voice from someone called Mikhail. And Mikhail will mention that there is going to be a massive airship that you want to take down. In order to draw the ship towards us, we need to let off a flare. So you want to come to the plaza section, and there's going to be this box which you want to shoot or melee the lock of the box to fall off, and then shoot or melee these box of flares, and it will shoot flares into the sky to signal the Russians. Once complete, you're going to hear an audio dialogue from Stroud, and the Zeppelin will fly above Main Street from the back of the church and drop anchors across the map. Specifically, it's going to be an anchor that's going to be right in front of you. This is a soul box, so go ahead and start collecting souls by killing zombies nearby, but the first zombie that gets turned into a sizzler by the Zeppelin overhead will turn into a sizzler, and when you kill it by using your melee weapon, it's going to give you the Geister Bolt, and this is one of the two parts you need in order to build yourself the Wonder Bus. Now, I'm not going to include a full guide in this video as it's pretty simple. If you don't know how to build the Wonder Bus, then I have a link down below in the description, or the interactive eye in the top right of your video, which you can click open, click that, and take it into a new tab where you can learn how to build the Wonder Bus, as we're going to need to obtain it for the next steps of this Easter egg. The main gist of the Easter egg steps from here on out is we're going to be obtaining 3 very special upgraded melee weapons. There isn't any particular order that you need to obtain these in, just as long as you eventually get all 3 of them, as we're going to be putting these into a wall to open a secret door. Starting off with what I think is easily the most easy one to do, and you guys can start this as soon as you get the Wonder Bus, and you want to go into the room where you built the Wonder Bus, and you're going to shoot this cash register sitting on top of the filing cabinets with the Wonder Bus's primary fire and the drawer is going to open, and if you crouch underneath it, you're going to notice a photograph with numbers written on it, and these are radio frequencies. So you want to run to the radio on Main Street, enter the frequencies given from the cash register drawer. If inputted correctly, there'll be a green light, and you'll start to hear some audio from a mysterious smuggler character. Once you've made contact with him via the radio, you want to make your way to the plaza, and you're going to see this little square panel on the ground right by the BAR wall by, and it's also near one of the entrances to the church. You want to just simply shoot at it, hold square, and the panel will open, and the smuggler will start to speak about the Untoten and how he doesn't have a weapon to defend himself with, and you must now arm the smuggler by activating the hole in the ground to pass him a weapon. Now, as it stands, there isn't any real logic to this. It seems to be complete random, and we assumed it to be a weapon type. Now, a lot of the time, buying the combat shotgun from the museum and giving it to him has been a weapon combination which has worked for a lot of people, but it randomizes every game. Some games I've given him my starting pistol and it's worked. Other times I've given him an MP40, sometimes I've given him a sniper rifle, an LMG. It's all completely random, so just keep messing around and trying different weapons until eventually the smuggler will take the weapon and accept it. You need to be careful here, because even if it's not the right weapon, he will still take the weapon from you and simply say, I don't have the right ammunition for this weapon. But whenever you do find the correct weapon to give to him, there'll be an on-screen prompt saying you've armed the smuggler. At this point, you need to progress 2 full rounds before we can interact with the smuggler again. Now, if you're pretty clued up about the Easter egg steps within this, then you can go ahead and start doing the quest for the other weapons, but we're going to stick with the smuggler for now. So once we've progressed 2 full rounds, you want to go to the front of the theatre, and you simply want to hold X or melee this square panel on the ground. It'll be another gas station circle, and it's going to reveal another small hole where the smuggler will speak to you again. This time, rather than giving him a weapon, you'll have to drop jolts into the hole in the ground, and you have to keep dropping money until the smuggler is satisfied with the amount that you've paid him. This step can take quite a while, and even on solo, it's actually quite dangerous to do this without going down, so just be careful. And once you complete this, there'll be an on-screen prompt saying you've paid the smuggler, and it'll mention about knocking 3 times at his apartment, and all you need to do is go back to the area where the Wonder Bus was first crafted, and it's going to be a door. Now, you're going to need to have a melee weapon of some sort. Even if it's the shovel that you picked up from the spawn room, not picking up any melee weapon won't work. It has to be some sort of melee weapon, and you simply want to melee the door 3 times. It should fall down, a whistling should be there to surprise you, and within there, you'll see the body of the smuggler and a gold baseball bat. This is one of the super weapons which we need, so you want to just hold square to pick that thing up, run all the way to the church, and in the wall grate, you can now insert this weapon, and that'll be...
Now for the latest cryptocurrency news. In Asia, a mainstream company called the GB Group is launching its own crypto token to aid in its expansion. This is one of the first established companies in Hong Kong to adapt and utilize cryptocurrency to aid in the development of their business. Over to Jackie in Hong Kong to tell us more.
Hi, I am Jackie reporting from Hong Kong with extremely exciting news for crypto fans. Yes, a mainstream company called the GB Group has launched one of the first crypto tokens from established company in Hong Kong. The GB Group...
1 of 3 done. The second weapon we're going to obtain is going to be the Dancer's Dagger. And to start this off, you want to make your way into the bedroom, which contains a sleeping woman on a bed. And beside her bed, up on this wall, is going to be a painting. You simply want to look at it and hold square, and that will activate the painting that will be located above the dresser, and you'll have picked that up. You want to make your way to the theatre. If you make your way through towards the back, you're going to notice a projector. You want to interact with it, and it's going to place the painting down in front of the projector, and above on the balcony is going to be a second film reel that you want to shoot down. It's going to fall down onto this sort of like pile of wood. You just want to pick that up, place that onto the film reel. The projector's going to project a mini map overview of the Shadowed Throne onto the actual theatre screen, and this is a representation of different soul boxes. I've gone ahead and helpfully labelled where every single location is that may pop up green. It will be a little green dot, but essentially essentially the top of the map is the church, and you just want to make your way through that towards the bottom. And what this is it's locating a bunch of soul boxes, which are small toy dolls, clown dolls to be precise, and these are going to be soul boxes. But rather than filling up with kills for there to be some sort of unlockable, it doesn't quite work like that. So in all, you're going to have 4 locations where there's going to be different dolls around the map collecting souls, and it's your job to count how many souls each doll collects in the sequence. So in our game, the first location we had was behind the projector screen in the theater, so it's in this corner here, and it took 4 souls before the soul box was completed. Our next location on the mini-map took us to the puddle by the melee wall, which is literally just outside from the first location, and this took 8 souls in order for it to complete. And you know it's completed because there won't be any more electricity coming from the zombies, and you'll hear a sort of like discharging noise as well. The next location was the chandelier in the museum. So as soon as we enter the museum, there's going to be a load of chandeliers, and there was a doll sitting on one of those. That collected 4 souls in our game before it was done. And then finally, our last location was on the double tap machine, which is in the plaza, and that took a total of 5 zombie souls before it was done, and the cycle would literally just repeat itself. But with that knowledge, the first sequence, the first doll collected 4 souls, the second collected 8, the third collected 4, and the fourth collected 5. So that gives us a code of 4845. And whatever amount of zombie souls you have in your 4 dolls correlates to the code that you're going to have to input into the safe in order to open it. This is your safe combination, and that's the order in which you completed the clown doll kills in that order. Now this safe works as a real combination lock does, starting with a full right turn of the lock to clear all inputs, and then you continue turning right until you've reached your first number. I couldn't get this to work in my game, but my buddy Milo was doing it, so you can see the third person. He resets it by spinning it anti-clockwise, so the numbers are going from 0, then 9, 8, 7, 6, rather than going clockwise where they're going up, and he reset it a few times and spins it over to the number 4. And simply twists it from 4 and actually goes up in numbers to get to 8 rather than go down to 0 and then keep spinning it again. So turns it to 8, then he turns it back to 4, and then spins it to 5. And once he lets go of the save and just waits a few seconds, the lever for the save opens on its own, revealing a head and the dancer's dagger. It's really as simple as that. I've seen a lot of people mention about, rotating it fully 4 times to reset it and having to rotate it after putting down each number, but it's really not necessary, and that really overcomplicates things. If you follow it the way that we did and make sure that you don't go over the numbers, you're very precise with your movements, then you should be able to get this first time. And with the dancer's dagger, you simply want to take it over to the melee wall and add that in, and that'll be the second melee weapon achieved within this guide. For our final weapon, we're going to get ourselves the axe, and in order to do that, you're going to be looking for a radio frequency which will be written in one of 3 locations around the map. The first location, which is the one that we found it at the most, is going to be on the side of the dresser on the back right side of the stage in the theatre. You can see it clear as day, and it's scratched out what looks like to be from a knife, and on it always has the same coordinates, 20.3 and 66.8. If it's not there, then check the museum wall, which would be this like granite wall slab below the M1 Grand wall by in the museum, and if not, then check the elevator near the apartments. Once you found the scratched out numbers, you want to input those frequencies onto the radio on Main Street, and if done correctly, you'll see the green light illuminate. The radio will start to output Morse code, and this is where you're going to have to translate this into plain text. Now at this point, you should open the description because I have a link to a very handy Morse code translator, and you're going to be listening to the radio for the Morse code, and it's going to be outputting short beeps, long beeps, dashes and pauses. It's not going to be a very long sequence, and it's going to be either 3 or 4 numbers that you're going to actually hear. So keep listening out and inputting what you hear. It will play over and over repeatedly forever until you get this right. You can check if you've inputted the Morse code correct on the link in the description, as you can play the actual Morse code that you've labeled in, but on the screen you can see exactly how you type in what you can hear in order to translate it into numbers. Short beeps are dots, beats are dashes, pauses are spaces. You should either get 3 or 4 numbers which correlate to the X and Y axis of the map which is in the church. Now, in order for us to interact with this, we're going to need to pick up a small magnifying glass which you can find in the theatre right here on this sofa next to this top hat. You need that. Interacting with the map in the church allows you to move the magnifying glass, and you want the magnifying glass to be over the coordinates you got from the Morse code on the X and Y axis. Unfortunately, I didn't get to record this, but my friend in-game did, and here's another shot of someone else getting it done in their game. But when you've done this correct, it should open the cabinet to the right of the map, and inside the cabinet should be a scale bowl. Now, for the next step, you're going to want to have a melee weapon and just play along to the next round, or to whenever you can get a sizzler zombie to spawn in. And what you want to do is you want to melee it near an armor machine and kill it. And what should happen is the zombie should be beheaded and its head should be on the armor machine for you, which you can now pick up, and you bring both the head and the scales over to the museum, and in this section here you should be able to place the bowl and the head. And what should happen is there should be a prompt where the scale is activated and the weight should be even. A prompt will appear on screen saying that you have balanced the scale. At this point, you now want to use your melee weapons and get melee kills near the rabbit, which is next to the scales, and once that's complete, a drawer will open from the table that the scale is positioned on, revealing a axe, and this is the final melee weapon, which you can now pick up and place in the wall, and that will be all 3 of the wonder weapons in the wall, and now they become their own soul boxes. Now this goes in order, and first of all, you will only be able to kill normal zombies, and the souls from the normal zombies will go into the dagger. Now this does take quite a lot of souls, so just be patient. The next soul box is going to be the axe, which only takes souls from the sizzlers, so you're going to have to be training zombies around